Hi everyone, my name is Iben and welcome to another episode in the road to Planet Zoo 2. And today we have an intermediate episode because Frontier launched a survey regarding Planet Zoo 2 and of course we need to talk about it. Let's dive into that right away. Now, first of all, we might want to ask ourselves, why is Frontier releasing a survey regarding Planet Zoo 2? Well, we've thrown many different requests at them over the years, ranging from animals to features to much more, and Frontier is trying to get an idea of how important these requests have been to us, because if we are being realistic, not everything is going to be able to make it into the game. It's not possible, nor feasible, nor even interesting for our PCs and consoles to have every single feature that the fandom ever asks for. So Frontier does have to make a list of things that are really important and things that they have to prioritize versus things that they might not be able to do in this release or in potential updates after the release. Now, when you go into this survey, you'll see that you're confronted with a bunch of features and you have to tell them whether you think the feature is the most important versus the least important. You always get 4 different features and you can only mark one as most important and one as least important. And because of that, you kind of need to think about how important you think a certain feature is to you. Now, these features get mixed in multiple sets and you'll see the same feature brought back multiple times, so they kind of do want to see which one is consistently the most important one versus which one is consistently the least important one. It's a really interesting take on this survey and I really hope that we one day get to see the results of this survey, because I do think we are sometimes in a little bubbles and it would be really nice to see what everyone else thinks about this game. Now, before we continue, I think it's super important to say that they did put in a note, and that is that all features, mechanics, content or anything else mentioned in the survey are only sourced from community requests. That means that they are not confirmed as features in Planet Zoo 2. It doesn't mean that these features aren't going to be in Planet Zoo 2. It's simply that this survey is not a confirmation for any of the features mentioned. I think that's a very important part to keep in mind, because I think it can easily feel like, oh yeah, all of these things are confirmed. No, they are simply trying to figure out which ones are the most important ones versus which ones are less important to the community. Now, what can we learn out of this survey? Because I think it's quite interesting that they released this survey about what we think is a year before the game gets released. Usually the CMS games from Frontier are released in October or November, and it seems quite weird that the game that they're supposedly coming next year is asking us now, a year before the release, what do you guys think is important? Especially because we do kind of have an idea of how long Frontier has been working on Planet Zoo 2. In the financial report of 2024, we already got this, and this was the fact that they were working on more CMS games, and we've known for quite a while that there were 3 different CMS games coming. One was Planet Coaster 2, then it was confirmed that the second one was Jurassic World Evolution 3, and now since a few weeks we know that the third game is Planet Zoo 2. Now, this report was released in January 2024, and in this page it already mentions that it's been in development, so it's reasonable to think that the game has been in development for at least half a year to a year before this thing was announced. So all in all, we kind of know that Frontier has been working on Planet Zoo 2 for at least 2.5 to 3 years now, which is interesting because if you've been working on the game for so long, why are you asking us now what we think is important? And I think we can take a look at what the features that they mentioned are, and I think we can split them in 2 different categories. On the left, I see a bunch of features that I think are kind of a given. Those are the ones that we've been vocal about a lot, and we all somewhat agree to them. like, a lot of us want birds, a lot of us want aquatic animals and aquariums, we want better animals, we want better exhibits, better building tools. A lot of people have asked for more challenging campaigns, for more in-depth management, and a lot of feedback has been given about the original pathing system of Planet Zoo 2. So I think all these features are kind of a given, and I think Frontier knows that they have to hit at least the majority of these features in order for the sequel to be a success. And I think the main reason why they have been included into this survey is because they probably thought, if we don't include this in the survey, people are going to think that we aren't going to include these in Planet Zoo 2, and you know our community, we can get spooked really easily, so I think it's a good idea to include them, even when Frontier already knows that these are very important features. However, I think the more interesting ones are the features on the right, and I think those are the features that Frontier really wants to know which ones are important and which ones are less important. Because there are some very interesting features in here that I personally, from my experience as a developer, I could see at least 1 or 2 or even 3 of them being developed in a year's time without it being too difficult to finish it before the release. Or maybe that a bunch of these features might be prioritized when they release new updates after the game was released. And there are some really interesting ones in there. The availability of staff vehicles, for instance, I think is really interesting. A simple zookeeper mode might be interesting to a lot of people. Less to me, but I understand why a lot of people want them. A photography mode seems really interesting. Trying to figure out if we want more scenery pieces or not, whether we want all base game animals or not. And this really special one, observe and research animals in their natural environment. Really interesting. I think these features are the most interesting ones, and I think those are the ones that Frontier is really trying to disconcern whether people think they are really important or not. So yeah, interesting to say the least. I hope at least 80% of everything on this page gets into the sequel at one point, whether it be at launch or at the end of the game. Now, let me know what you think. Please fill in the survey. I will put the link in the description and in the comment section. Let Frontier know what you think is important. And if you want more on the road to Planet Zoo 2, this Saturday, we'll take a look at all the cool Planet Coaster 2 features that were introduced and which ones I think will probably be carried over to Planet Zoo 2. See you in the next episode. Bye!